Imagine somebody offered you two envelopes. The first contains exactly $100, no surprises and no risk. The second could contain $1,000 or nothing at all. Now, which envelope would you choose? Most people would immediately begin asking questions like, can I have more information? Like, what are the odds? Is this a trick or something? Notice something here. You see, your brain is not chasing money, it's chasing certainty. And humans have an extraordinary ability to tolerate pain, to endure hardship, to survive incredible adversity, but uncertainty is completely different. Uncertainty keeps us awake at night. It fuels anxiety, it demands answers, and nowhere is uncertainty more relentless than in the trading markets. Because every time you place a trade, you step into a future that nobody, not even the greatest traders in history, can predict with certainty. You see, the question is not whether uncertainty exists. The question is, why do our brains fight it so hard? Listen, for hundred thousands of years, certainty meant survival, right? And look, if your ancestors recognized which berries were poisonous, they lived. If they remembered where predators hunted, they survived. And the brain evolved to seek predictable outcomes. And patterns created safety. Certainty reduced danger. And that wiring, that mental wiring, still exists today. But modern financial markets, they do not reward certainty, they reward adaptation. Because every trade is a probability, right? And every setup carries a risk. Every outcome remains uncertain until it is over. Yet, our brain continues searching for guarantees that simply do not exist. So imagine that you're in front of a trading chart, right? And imagine that you found your A plus setup. I mean, everything aligns and your strategy says to go take the trade. But instead, you hesitate and you start telling yourself, maybe I'll wait for one more candle and the next candle appears. Maybe I'll wait for, more volume confirmation. Then maybe the higher time frame should agree to. Then another condition. Then another. Eventually, the move is gone. And we've all experienced this, right? Not because we lacked a strategy, but because we wanted certainty. And the irony is, more confirmation rarely eliminates uncertainty, it just simply delays the decision. You know what? You can keep adding criteria to entering a trade, and you can keep adding indicators too. And there's nothing wrong with indicators when they're used correctly, because when they're used correctly, they're just valuable tools. But many traders don't use indicators to improve decisions, they use them to reduce anxiety. One moving average, then two, then RSI, then maybe they add the MACD, the VWAP, the order flow, the volume profile, heat maps, delta, footprints. Soon, the chart becomes so crowded that they can't even see price action themselves. Not because more information creates better trades, but because more information creates the illusion of certainty. But deep down, the trader hopes that enough confirmation will finally eliminate doubt. And honestly, it never does. Look, uncertainty makes us uncomfortable. So we naturally look for ways to control it, like more analysis, more indicators. Maybe you watch the news, more opinions, more mentors, more YouTube videos, more Discord groups, and more market predictions. And each one promises clarity, and each one feels reassuring, right? But there's a hidden danger here. Information is not always reducing uncertainty. Sometimes it's simply feeding the illusion that uncertainty can be conquered. Look, the market does not become more predictable just because we consume more information, right? So imagine flipping a fair coin. Heads, you win, and tails, you lose. You probably accept the outcome. Why? Because randomness is obvious. Now imagine taking a trade. Your setup is perfect and you followed every single rule, and yet you still lose. Suddenly, the mind searches for an explanation. Maybe I entered too early. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I need another strategy. And why is this different? Because the brain struggles to accept uncertainty when effort was involved. We begin preparation should guarantee success, right? Markets disagree. Sometimes perfect decisions still produce losing outcomes. And you know what? That's just probability. Listen, prediction feels powerful, and being correct feels so rewarding. And sadly, social media celebrates certainty. You know, you got people out there, they're claiming that I called the top, or I predicted the rally, and or I knew that this would happen. Notice how rarely people celebrate good risk management, right? Because certainty is exciting, but probability is not. Professional traders understand something different here. Their job is not about predicting the future, it's responding to it. And that distinction alone can change everything. So, what happens when you refuse to accept uncertainty? You hesitate, you overanalyze, you constantly switch strategies, and you second guess yourself, and you abandon winning systems after normal losing streaks, and you search endlessly for the holy grail. Years pass, courses accumulate, and indicators multiply, but guess what? Your confidence disappears. Not because profitable trading is impossible, but because certainty became the goal instead of trying to reach for consistency. You know what? Ask a beginner this. Will this trade win? And ask a professional trader this. Does this trade fit my edge? And those two are completely different questions. One seeks certainty, the other seeks probability. And professionals know something beginners often resist. A good trade can still lose, and a bad trade can still win. Listen, the outcome does not define the quality of the decision. The process does. And that's incredibly freeing realization. Look, imagine standing on a beach, watching waves crash against the shore. Would you become angry because you couldn't control the tide? Probably not. You would just accept it. And market work exactly the same way. Volatility rises, trends change, and news surprises everyone. Liquidity disappears, and none of it asks for your permission. And the moment you stop demanding certainty, you become available to work with probability. And that's where emotional peace begins with trading. Like, faith does not mean blind optimism, right? It means trusting your process despite of uncertainty. And every trader plays trades without knowing the outcome. Every surgeon begins an operation without a guarantee, and that's why they make their patients sign a consent form that explains risk and benefit, because nothing is guaranteed. Like, bad things can happen. And you know what? Every entrepreneur starts a business without certainty, and every athlete enters competition without knowing who will win. Look, life itself is built on uncertainty. Trading simply makes that uncertainty impossible to ignore. And perhaps that's why it becomes such a powerful teacher. So here's the conclusion here. The market has never promised certainty. It will never will. Every candle, every breakout, every reversal, and every setup contains uncertainty. And the traders who thrive aren't the ones who eliminate uncertainty. They're the ones who stop fearing it. Because certainty is comforting, but comfort rarely creates growth. Probability does, discipline does, consistency does. And every trade asks the same question. Can you act confidently without knowing the outcome? If the answer is yes, you're no longer trading to be certain. You're trading to be consistent. And that's one of the most greatest psychological shifts any trader can make. Because the market does not reward certainty, right? It rewards those who remain disciplined, even when certainty is impossible. The greatest edge you ever develop is not about predicting tomorrow. It's making peace with the fact that tomorrow may never be fully known. So, master your mind, master the market. This is NQ State of Mind. If you like this video or you think it helped you in any way, shape, or form, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I promise I will respond to you. I hope you guys will have a beautiful trading day. All right, we'll see you in the next video.